Hi there, welcome to part 2 of September's mandala tutorial. So I know that you remember this was how we ended up with the first one, and then we had the second one that had a little more lines, so a little more complexity and embellishment. And I've got the part 2 tutorial to follow. I didn't go into as much detail since you got a lot of instruction on the first one, so it's not quite as long, but enjoy. Please share your finished picture in the group when you're done, okay? And then I'll get busy making a mandala for October. Okay, enjoy. All right, we're going to start again with the one that's a little more complex. Here was the outcome of the first one. I'm going to keep the colors similar, and I won't go into as much detail this time so that we can focus on different techniques. Okay, so we are going to get started. I'm probably going to have to actually stop and sharpen some of the pencils. Last time they were too sharp, and this time I've worked them down pretty good. So let's see, let's start here. Why not? So I'm going to color a little bit, and then I'll come back. So this is a little trick that I do sometimes, especially if I'm drawing my own circle, but in this case I'm just coloring, obviously, but you'll see that my wrist is pretty much anchored down and stationary, and I'm just rotating the pen. So there's a little bit of pressure I'm putting on my wrist down at the center of the circle, and it just makes it a little bit faster. In this case, especially when the paper is, it's not taped down, but it's in one place rather than going around like this all the way. So anyway, tiny trick, but all these little tricks, in the end, they add up and they help, right? But anyway, so just slowly take your time. Otherwise, I've actually got a roofer coming to the house in a few minutes, so that's why I was rushing. So I shouldn't let things rush me. But anyway, there's a nice point. So this will be my next color, and I think, like before, I'm going to put it in this area here. All right. And initially here I am again going, oh, there's not as much contrast between those two colors as I would like, but that's okay. Actually, I might try something different this time and use more of a limited palette. Sometimes that's fun to do, to see how pretty you can make it. I painted one entire mandala using only 3 colors. I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could do, and if I remember right, it was 24 inches by 24 inches. I'll show it to you guys at some point, but I limited myself to choosing only 3 colors, and I think it still came out quite beautiful. But it was an interesting challenge to paint a mandala that big with lots of variation and interest with only that many colors. So for some reason, it looks like I'm starting out with more pressure this time. Last time I started out with very light pressure and then went and added in, remember? But it looks like today, maybe I'm feeling a little more forceful today. I'm starting out with more color, so more intensity right from the beginning, which is coming out interesting. I'm not quite sure I like it, but that's the way it always is with me. I'm not quite sure I like it in the beginning, and in the end it always comes together beautifully. And actually my son told me that one time. I was painting, and I had a little setup in my bedroom, the corner of the bedroom, and he was about 13 at the time, and I was painting. I came out and he said, how's it coming? And I said, I'm just not liking it. It's not coming together. And he said, Mom, you always say that and it always comes out great. And I thought, oh, wisdom from a 13-year-old boy. So I still remember that every time I get a little frustrated. It's part of the process. You struggle with, as you're trying to make it come out, maybe you let your mind get in the way, really, is what happens. And you try to force things, and you try to think ahead, and really the best thing you can do is just let go and enjoy, and it always comes out great in the end. It really does. So yeah, even with 2 colors, just 2 colors, it's still looking kind of cool. I think I'll put some more of this color, but not right now. So I don't know if you remember on the last one, I said to make note of or set aside the pencils that you used. And so after finishing this mandala, which I really am happy with, I put the pencils away, and it's been a couple of days. Now I'm coming back to do this one, and here's the thing. there are so many greens that I really can't remember which green I used, and I didn't write it down. So this is why I suggest writing it down. And I didn't do what I told y'all to do. And so I know that it's this one. The reason I know is because the tip is used up and it was a brand new set of pencils to start with. So anyway, now I'm going to go back with a little green. I think I'll do the same thing I did last time with these petals and make them this pretty green. And away we go again. I think I'll do something like that, and then remember last time we put dark green on the inside, but I think I'll just do dark green just on that one little part. This was one of the extra lines I added, and maybe put yellow in there. So that's what that's going to be all the way around, and we'll do these in the medium green like we did before. So I want it to look similar to the last one, so you can just compare at the end the difference that just the embellishment the extra lines made. That's the point of the exercise and doing it this way. Alrighty, and I'm doing a medium to firm pressure on these petals. All right, I'll go around and see you in a bit. All right, so I have done the colors that I showed you I was going to do with the light green, dark green, and yellow. And then I added the same in the center and went back and added a little of this light aqua in the center. So I think it looks like I'm still in the mindset that I spoke about earlier, where I'm limiting myself to just a few colors. But we're going to change that now because I want it to be similar to the last one. So I'm going to bring in some of the blues and purples and pinks. Ultramarine, remember that one? That was kind of the purple blue that we had in the last one. So I'm going to go in and add that now. I'm going to do that in these sections here. And remember last time, like I said, we colored it and we started like real light like this. And then we added some of our depth and interest by making these shadows at the bottom. And this time, it seems like I'm already starting with more pressure. So we're gonna have to find different ways to add that shadow effect or that depth effect since I'm already pressing down hard. So that'll be interesting, right? When we get to that point, I will show you ways that we can do that. So yeah, this is looking pretty. Still all blues, green, and yellow though, right? Not really any purple. But we'll get there. It's gonna be beautiful. I hope y'all are having fun. I know this is kind of a slow process, but it's supposed to be. It's meditation, for heaven's sakes. So no flashy video, just slow and steady, relaxing as we go. Oh, I think that reminded me too. I did a meditation, a guided meditation a while back, and I'll provide that for you too. You might find that helpful. All right, so I'm gonna color for a while and we'll be back. Right, so I did use that aquamarine color. I filled in all of these petals, and then I went and did half of these. And the reason I did half of these is so we wouldn't lose that line. I just thought it would be interesting to do a couple different colors, so I did that. And then I came back with the light blue, did the other half of those little petals, cleaned this up a little bit, made it smoother, and then while I was here, I don't know if you can tell, but I kind of brought some of that blue into the aqua color like we did last time. Make it look a little more finished and a little more vibrant, I thought. So there's that, and now I'm going to sharpen the pencil, and I'm going to go back and clean this up a little bit and make it a little smoother last time the point was very dull and I couldn't get close to the edge without messing up. So I've sharpened the pencil a little bit. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. You see how I have the wrist anchored and I'm just kind of going around again, right? Doing that little trick again. So I'm not doing as much teaching this time because hopefully you watched the first one and you got a lot of those type of tips and tricks in that one, and I don't see the need to repeat myself. I may. What I'll probably do is each month when I give you a new mandala, I'll start over in case there's somebody new in the group and maybe they don't want to go all the way back and find the original instruction, right? But so I think it's looking better. It's interesting that this one already feels so much more vibrant just because I started out with more pressure instead of starting out with the light pressure. So next color, I think it's interesting. You have to kind of pay attention to your thought process. I know that I'm going to bring in some purple and some pink because I want it to be similar to the last one, like I said. But I think it's really interesting that for some reason my subconscious keeps going toward the blues today. And for some reason, and I love purple, green. These are all my favorite colors, purple, green, pink, blue. But for some reason today, I'm just not drawn to them as much. So you have to pay attention to what's going on. I know what's going on in my mind. I know the events of last week. September of 2025. It's been a really, really heavy, hard week for me. This all hit me really hard. I'm very much an empath. So I've had a real struggle with that, and right now the only reason I bring it up is I'm wondering if that's why I'm having a hard time reaching for what I would consider a little more happy colors, because my heart is heavy. So maybe that's why I'm drawn more to the blues right now. Don't know. So that's what I mean by you gotta kind of pay attention to what's going on in your mind. Ideally, doing the mandala has a healing effect, and so it's about bringing structure and beauty and color and life and vibrancy into your life. And so even though I may be feeling heavy and blue at the moment, hopefully this exercise has some healing effect on that, right? That's what the mandala is all about. So I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to stop the camera now and I'm going to pick a color, and when I come back you'll have to see what I did, okay? Alrighty. So I decided to confront my feelings and grab that pink and really add it in. So I put it where we had it in the last mandala, just again to make them similar, and then I went completely rogue over here and put a bunch of pink in the middle. So yeah, it's just been interesting observing myself and my color choices, and the more you do, the more you'll know about yourself. Also interesting, I'm noticing that I'm having to make a conscious effort to not press down hard. So that's an interesting change in myself since last time. And so I just started right away with really a lot of pressure and a dark pink. And so I decided to alternate. And then like we did last time, in the light pink, I put some shading, some more pressure at the bottom of the petals, just to make it a little more interesting and kind of blend it to the dark petals next to it, okay? So I wanted to show you that. That's why I turned the camera back on. So there's that, and I guess it's time for purple. We're gonna do just like we did last time and do these out here in a purple. I'm gonna try to go a little light. So I need to sharpen the pencil halfway, not the full sharp point. I'll sharpen it halfway, and I'm going to try to do light pressure to start with. I'll make myself do light pressure, even though my mindset and my style is different from just a few days ago or last week. when I colored the basic mandala. This is obviously, this one's going to be beautiful as well. This one's taken a little bit of a different turn, which they always do. I don't know if I would want to color the same one twice the same way. But anyway, what I was going to say is I have to say that it actually does help me feel better. And help me while I'm sitting here coloring. I'm processing some of these really heavy things that are on my mind, and this is a nice way to heal, you know, to deal with it, and coloring, and the color and the act of coloring, and being creative, and just having space, quiet space to yourself while you're doing it. Maybe you're doing a prayer, and like I said, I consider coloring mandalas like an act of meditation, really. When I'm not talking, then, you know, it's very meditative. I'm talking so you guys can learn all this. But yeah, it is helpful, and I do feel somewhat better already just by doing this little demonstration for you guys, for getting my hands in the color and that kind of thing. So, all right, I'm going to color. See you in a minute. All right, so I wanted to show you this. Inside these petals, we had the 3 of these little, 2 extra lines, so 3 little sections. So I just used purple, 1 purple marker with dark pressure, medium pressure, and light pressure, and I did that on those 4. And same pencil, the dark blue pencil, but with dark pressure and light pressure, and then the light blue with dark pressure and very light pressure. And I'm going to do these petals in pink. Got to decide what to do on the inside there, and there. I did these areas in pink all the way around, and then on these I decided to kind of match them and blend them, kind of marry them more to the pink. I went to the tops of I left 2 to show you. I went to the tops of the purple petals and put some pink in here. And with a little bit of pressure so that it shows up, and then kind of blend it, so soften the pressure as you go down so that it blends into the purple. And it doesn't matter since pink's there, you can just kind of run over it and blend it all together. So see how pretty that is coming all together? And this, I might go ahead and finish coloring. My time is running short. I need to go take care of my mom. My sister and I share care of our 93-year-old mom, and her shift is over and my shift is on, and I'm trying to hurry. So might not be quite as careful as I would normally be, but that's why. I took the purple and did these little like kind of inverse petals in purple, and I'm so sorry that I am rushing. It doesn't even feel right to be rushing through a mandala. It's supposed to be a relaxing exercise, but I won't be back at my house for quite a few days. So I guess sometimes we gotta do what we gotta do and do the best we can. So anyway, I'm feeling sad that it's a little rushed. I think I'm just gonna go with, just make it simple instead of trying to make every single section a different color. So I think that's a little bit instructive too, because it doesn't have to be every single section a different color. My fiance is very sweet. My sister has already left my mom's house, even though I didn't get there, and my fiance's gone to sit with her for a minute so I could finish doing this coloring and this tutorial for you guys. So I thought that was really sweet. I'm coloring lightly all of the leaves. Kind of looks like wheat if you ask me. I didn't intend that, but it looks like wheat, so maybe that means abundance, right? What was my subconscious telling me when I drew wheat? These are the things you ask yourself when you're coloring a mandala. All right, and then we'll do the two at the bottom a little darker. So yeah, I think that looks really, really cool. Now, one thing we did not talk about in the last one, but we will here, is that you can use white to kind of soften and blend. See where these colors didn't really, I don't know what happened, but in order to kind of blend and smooth these colors that look rough to me, I'm just going over them with white. So that's a nice little trick I wanted to show you guys. And then another thing we can do, in order to make it kind of pop a little bit, we could outline it with markers. And you could embellish it with markers. So that might be something I might take a minute to do here at the end. But I really, really like what this white is doing. It's okay. It still is coming out to be a beautiful mandala, and it has made me feel a little lighter and a little better just to spend some time doing art and putting color down. So again, just using the white to kind of blend all this together, make it look a little more finished. I don't know if you can see. You really don't have to be too careful at this point. You're just kind of pushing the colors together. And I think it really helps. What do you think? I want you guys to join my school. I have a school community where we do mandala art and prayer and inspirations and just genuine human connection where people are loved and encouraged and supported. And I think especially now, this is super important to have people that you can rely on to be there for you. And that's what I want my community to be about. And inside the community, I'll be doing a mandala a month. I'll give you a mandala each month, and we might get to the point where we do like a theme each month. I don't know, we're not there yet. It's a brand new community. I'd love for you to be a founding member with me, help me grow the group. And so I'll put a link to that, and also in the description you can find a link to download the mandalas to print. But do you see how, like right here, you can see that it was a light pressure, but then when I go over it with the white, it kind of just smooths it out and it blends the pink into the purple, and it doesn't look like light pressure anymore. So I think that looks really good. I'm moving to markers. This is going to be bold, but see, I can take a purple marker and also kind of finish this out. So there's so many ways that you can be creative and embellish the work and make it look more finished. And oopsie, I messed up, but it's okay. I always say it's okay every time I mess up. See the mess up over there? It's because that was backwards for my hand. That's why I normally like to spin the paper. There we go. And see, that already made it look a little better. I will take a green marker. Let's see. Green marker and do these. I'll outline these. So when I'm through, I'll post the finished product. See how it's cleaning up some of those edges? Oh, here's another thing we could do too. Like, right? Just take the marker and add in some little details like that. That's kind of fun to do too. Just whatever you feel it needs. And I think that's kind of cool. You can relax a little bit since my fiance's with my mom. go. Coming to the end of this beautiful piece, and I'm really happy that I did it today because I needed to do something creative and peaceful today. It's made me feel a lot better and reconnected me to something positive and beautiful and joyful. So there we go. All right, so I did go back and do some more with the marker just to kind of put it all together. And so what I did was go and outline all of the petals here in a purple. And so my art teacher years and years ago told me there are no mistakes, only opportunities for embellishment. And so my little mistake where it went too far into the blue led to all of that and embellishment. And then I went and outlined, kind of closed that up, and then outlined these petals in here. So, I see, I forgot to do these. I'll do these real quick. And then, I think that's the only one I forgot. So, okay, gonna call it done. It's time to go take care of Mama. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for studying with me. Please look into the school group. There'll be a link below. And have a great day. God bless. Love you. Hope you really enjoyed that experience. And I hope that you watched part 1 as well so you could see the difference, a subtle difference that just a few more lines made. I encourage you not just to watch me, but to actually do your own. That's where you're really going to experience the transformative power of doing mandala art. So if you would like these 2 templates that the 2 tutorials have covered, I will put a link here in the window and also below where you can download the templates for free. And I'd also like to invite you to join my school community where I think you'll really connect with some great friends if you like this type of thing. And by that, I mean art, positivity, authentic connections, inspirations, and encouragement. We're going to grow a great group of loving, genuine people who are all about putting positivity into the world. So the mandala art will be part of the focus in the group, a big part of the focus. But also we'll do some other empowering positive activities and exercises, and mainly just really love on one another. So I really would love for you to be part of that. And just so you know, regarding the school community, there is no huge commitment. Like I said, it's free right now because it's brand new, so we're growing it together. But there's no requirement. You aren't required to do anything. Just jump in and check it out and see if you don't feel like it's a good vibe for you. We'd love to have you. I love you, and you have a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.